Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time, we're all about B2B event planning, and I'm pumped to say you sent us a fantastic guide on how to get the best event services.
I think we're definitely going to find some useful stuff in here. Even you with all your event experience, I bet.
Oh, I'm sure there's always something new to learn. I mean, right off the bat, this guide is all about having a killer event brief. Like, seriously, they say it's the blueprint for a successful event.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's tempting to just jump into like picking a cool venue, but if you haven't figured out the details, you're going to have problems.
Right, the blueprint analogy. So they break it down into size and scope, which I guess makes sense. Like a huge product launch is way different than a small dinner with some clients.
For sure. Like if you've got a huge conference, you might even want to think about picking a venue near like industry landmarks or something, to kind of play up the theme.
Ooh, that's a really cool idea. Now, I know you always pay attention to detail, so I bet you're already thinking about the audience for this event.
Oh, absolutely. The guide makes a really good point about catering to your specific audience. Like, think about it. If you've got a bunch of CEOs coming, you'll want a super high-end feel.
Mm.
But a younger crowd might prefer something a little more relaxed.
And maybe even tech focused.
Right.
Like for a younger audience, you could have a venue with a rooftop space or even like an art installation. Something different.
I like it. And that actually brings us to the third thing the brief talks about,
Yeah.
objectives.
Mm.
What are you actually trying to accomplish with this event?
Totally. Is it like a new product launch or more about training or maybe just networking?
Exactly. And it goes back to the venue. If you need people to try out a product, you'll need space for that.
I've been seeing these really cool event spaces that are like super flexible. They can change from like a big presentation area to a chill lounge in like minutes.
And the guide's all about making sure your space works for your goals. So yeah, if it's a product launch with demos, you'll need a different space than a conference.
Okay, so we've got the event brief nailed down, the blueprint's done. Now for the fun part, finding the perfect venue. I gotta ask, is this where you secretly get really excited?
Who, me? Ah. Okay, maybe a little. But seriously, finding the right venue is so important. It sets the whole tone.
Totally. And this guide does a great job of going through the main things to consider. Obviously, location's a biggie. But what really stood out to me was how much they emphasized accessibility. And not just like parking, but making sure it's good for people with disabilities too.
Right. You want everyone to feel welcome and like comfortable. Plus, the guide reminded me, even though it's 2025 and we have virtual tours, sometimes you just got to see the venue in person. Photos can be tricky.
Oh, yeah. You got to get a feel for the space, walk around, imagine the event happening there. And you can ask the staff questions too, all the little logistical things.
For sure. Can they handle your AV setup? How's the Wi-Fi? Do they have experience with events like yours?
Okay, so now I'm totally picturing the event in my head, and you know what that means.
Food time. Figured you'd be getting hungry.
You know me too well. And the guide had some interesting stuff on catering. It's not just about serving tasty food, it's a whole strategy.
I'm really glad they mentioned flexibility because that's super important these days. People have dietary restrictions, allergies, different preferences. You got to think about all that.
I bet you're already imagining all the presentation possibilities, like those cool interactive food stations, right?
Oh, yeah, or those themed buffets. But you're right, presentation matters. And the guide even talks about maybe skipping the huge buffet line and having smaller stations where people can mingle.
That is a great idea, especially for networking. It's like a built-in conversation starter.
Right. And don't forget, good service goes a long way too. If you've got staff who are friendly and attentive, it makes everyone feel better about the whole event.
Okay, we've got the venue, we've got the food, this is starting to feel real, but I'm guessing we're not done yet.
Nope, not even close. This guide goes into a whole bunch of other stuff they call additional services, like the finishing touches, right? And they spend quite a bit of time on vent tech, which makes sense.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
You've got your apps with like personalized schedules and maps and stuff.
Oh, and those interactive kiosks.
Yep, those two. For registration, feedback, all kinds of things.
I saw one at a conference last year, and it was amazing. No more waiting in line to check in. And it even printed out name badges right there.
Super efficient, right?
Yeah.
And it frees up your staff to actually, talk to people and help them out.
Exactly. Much better than just standing there scanning tickets. Okay, what else is in this treasure trove of services?
Oh, this is a fun one. Entertainment.
Entertainment. Okay, I'm intrigued. What are we thinking?
Well, it obviously depends on the vibe you're going for. A product launch might call for a live band or a DJ, something high energy.
Yeah, get people moving.
Right. But for something smaller, maybe an art exhibit or some acoustic music would be a better fit.
Ooh, I like that. It's all about setting the mood, right? And speaking of mood, we can't forget about decor.
The guide actually talks a lot about the visual impact of an event. Signage, lighting, even things like scent marketing.
Scent marketing, that's a new one.
Yeah, it's a thing. But you're right, it's about the whole experience. I've seen events where they use projections to turn a plain wall into like a whole different scene.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Or using plants and stuff to make it feel more natural and relaxed.
Exactly. But don't forget the practical stuff too. Comfortable seating, clear walkways, easy to find restrooms, all those little things add up.
True, you don't want people tripping over stuff or waiting in line forever.
Yeah,
So we've covered venue, catering, all these extra services. I'm starting to feel like an event planning pro, but there's got to be more, right?
you bet. We haven't even gotten to the part where you haggle with everyone to get the best deals.
Negotiation. Yeah, that's a crucial skill for sure. I'm ready to learn from the master negotiator here.
Oh, stop. You're making me blush. But seriously, the guide has some good advice on that too.
Spill it. Especially when it comes to sticking to a budget, because, those events can get expensive.
Well, the first thing they say is to be upfront about your budget.
So no playing poker with the vendors.
Right. Just tell them what you've got to work with, and then they can put together proposals that actually fit.
Makes sense. Saves everyone time and avoids those awkward, oh, that's way more than I was thinking moments.
Exactly. And they also say, don't be afraid to think outside the box a little.
Like, what do they mean?
Well, you don't have to just accept their standard packages. Maybe you want a specific type of food or a really unique tech setup. Don't be shy about asking for what you want.
So if I suddenly get the urge for a mobile coffee bar with a latte artist, I should just go for it.
Why not? A good vendor will be happy to work with you to come up with something special.
I like that. Okay, what else?
Oh, this is a good one. If you're planning multiple events throughout the year, see if you can get a multi-event contract.
Ah, smart.
You might be able to get a better price that way, and you build a good relationship with the vendor.
Long-term thinking. Love it. So let's say we've got the contracts all signed. Now it's time to make sure everything actually happens, right?
Yep, it's all about managing those contracts and relationships from here on out. And guess what?
There's more in the guide.
You know it.
Okay, I'm all ears. How do we keep everyone happy and on track?
Well, first things first, you need a rock-solid contract.
One that's so detailed it covers every possible scenario.
Pretty much. It should outline everyone's responsibilities, what they're delivering, when, how much it'll cost, and don't forget contingency plans.
Ah, yes, the what ifs. Like what if the keynote speaker gets laryngitis or the venue loses power?
Exactly. You need a backup plan for everything. The contract is basically your safety net.
So if something goes wrong, we can all point to the contract and say, well, it says right here.
Yep. No more arguing about who's responsible.
Love it. Okay, what else is important for keeping those vendor relationships strong?
Communication. This guide is big on communication.
It's key in every relationship, right? But especially when there are so many moving parts.
Absolutely. They suggest having a clear communication plan with regular check-ins and updates throughout the whole planning process.
Email, phone calls, video chats, whatever works.
Exactly. And don't forget, communication isn't just about sharing info, it's also about building a good rapport with your vendors.
So it's not just sending out a dry email with bullet points. You got to be a little more, I don't know, human.
Right. Let them know you appreciate their hard work. Maybe give them a little sneak peek of what you're planning.
Make them feel like part of the team.
Exactly. And last but not least, the guide talks about feedback.
Oh, I was just thinking about that.
And they're talking about both positive and constructive feedback.
It's easy to focus on what went wrong, but it's important to point out what went right, too, right?
Absolutely. A little appreciation can go a long way. And if something didn't go quite as planned, give them some constructive feedback.
Like, hey, the food was amazing, but maybe next time we could have more serving stations so people aren't waiting in line forever.
Perfect. You're giving them a specific suggestion for how to improve. Remember, you and your vendors are both on the same side, trying to make this event a success.
I like that way of thinking about it. We're all in this together. It's not me versus them.
Right. And when everyone feels like they're on the same team, it makes the whole planning process a lot smoother and more fun.
This has been so helpful. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on working with vendors. Okay, before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear what you think is the most important thing for listeners to remember as they plan their own events. So much good stuff in this guide. If you had to pick just one, what's the biggest takeaway you want people to walk away with?
For me, it's that B2B events, they're not just about the logistics. It's about creating an experience, something people will remember.
Yeah, I love that. It's not just checking things off a list, it's making a real impact.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about the legacy you want to create. How do you want people to remember this event? What conversations do you want it to start?
Ooh, that's good. Instead of stressing over every little detail, we should be thinking about the bigger picture.
Right. What kind of feeling do you want people to have? What's the impression you want them to leave with?
This whole deep dive has honestly given me so many new ideas, and I'm excited about planning my next event now.
That's what we like to hear. And remember, planning an event, it's a journey. There will be hiccups along the way.
Oh, there will be hiccups for sure.
But if you plan carefully, communicate well, and get a little creative, you can create an event that people will love.
I couldn't have said it better myself. A huge thank you to our expert for sharing all this amazing advice. And to everyone listening, we hope this has inspired you to go out and plan your best B2B event yet. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.